The transport ship shook as it entered the atmosphere of Kepler 442b. Jihu pressed his face against the small window, watching the blue and green planet grow larger below. After 6 months in space, he was finally here. New Gaian colony. His new home. First time on an alien world? Asked Taeyang from the seat beside him. The older man had been to 3 colonies before this one. Jihu nodded. I've only ever lived on Earth. This is big, Taeyang laughed. Wait until you meet the Velthrons. That's when things get really interesting. The ship landed with a gentle thud. 50 humans gathered their bags and walked down the ramp into the bright sunlight. Jihu took his first breath of alien air. It smelled like Earth, but sweeter somehow. Like flowers he couldn't name, a group waited for them at the landing pad. Most were tall, thin creatures with pale blue skin that seemed to glow slightly in the light. The Velthrons. Jihu had seen pictures, but seeing them in person was different. They moved with an odd grace, their large eyes blinking slowly as they watched the humans approach. One Velthron stepped forward. She was taller than Jihu by at least a foot. Her skin had patterns that glowed soft white along her arms and neck. Welcome to New Gaian, she said in perfect but slightly musical English. I am Shira. I will be your supervisor in the engineering section. Jihu introduced himself, trying not to stare. Shira's eyes were entirely black, like deep pools. When she looked at him, he felt like she was seeing right through him. Come, Shira said. I will show you to your quarters. The colony was bigger than Jihu expected. Buildings made of some smooth white material stretched out in neat rows. Gardens grew between them, filled with both Earth and alien plants. Velthrons and the few humans he saw moved about their business. But Jihu noticed something odd. Every Velthron female they passed stopped and stared. Not at the group, at him, at Taeyang, at the other human males. Is it always like this? Jihu whispered to Taeyang. Like what? Everyone staring. Taeyang glanced around and shrugged. They're probably just curious. New faces and all that. But it didn't feel like curiosity to Jihu. It felt like something else. Something he couldn't name. Shira showed him to a small but comfortable room. You will start work tomorrow, she said. Tonight, there is a welcome gathering in the main hall. Please come. It would be good to see you there. Well, one problem. One problem. Good to see you there. The way she said it made Jihu's skin prickle. Not in a bad way. Just strange. That evening, Jihu walked to the main hall with Taeyang. The large room was filled with both humans and Velthrons. Long tables held food from both worlds. Music played softly in the background. Jihu, over here! A human woman waved at them. She had short black hair and a friendly smile. I'm Soha, xenobiology researcher. This is Yuna, our head botanist. Yuna was younger, with tired eyes that suggested long hours in the gardens. Welcome to the madhouse, she said with a slight smile. Madhouse? Jihu asked. Soha and Yuna exchanged a look. You'll see, Soha said. Give it a few days. Before Jihu could ask what she meant, Shira appeared at his elbow. May I show you the colony gardens? She asked. They are beautiful at night. Oh, sure, Jihu said. As they walked away, he heard Yuna whisper to Soha. Another one caught. R. The gardens were indeed beautiful. Strange flowers glowed in the darkness, and the air smelled sweet. Shira walked close beside him, closer than necessary. She asked him questions about Earth, about his family, about his favorite foods and colors and memories, personal questions that seemed too intimate for someone he'd just met. Why so many questions? Jihu finally asked. Shira stopped walking. In the dim light, her bioluminescent patterns glowed brighter. Forgive me, she said. I am being inappropriate. It's just, we don't get many humans here. And human males are fascinating. Fascinating how? She looked away. It's difficult to explain. Over the next week, Jihu settled into his new job. He worked with Shira and 2 other Velthrons on reinforcing the colony's outer buildings. The work was hard, but satisfying. What wasn't satisfying was the constant attention. Everywhere he went, Velthron females found reasons to talk to him. They asked for his help with small tasks. They brought him extra food at meals. They appeared wherever he was working, watching him with those deep black eyes. It was flattering at first. Then it became uncomfortable. Taeyang noticed it too. "It's getting weird," he said one night in Jihu's quarters. "I had 3 different Velthron women offer to help me fix a simple pipe today." A simple pipe. "I think one of them doesn't even work in engineering. At least I'm not imagining it," Jihu said. "We should talk to someone. Maybe Dr. Hana? She's been here since the colony started." Dr. Hana Park was a stern woman in her 50s who ran the Medical and Biological Research Center. When Jihu and Taeyang came to her office, she sighed heavily. "I was wondering when you'd notice," she said. "Sit down. This is going to take a while to explain." She pulled up screens showing charts and graphs that meant nothing to Jihu. "When the first humans arrived 12 years ago, we noticed unusual behavior from the Velthron females. At first, we thought it was just curiosity about a new species, but it got stronger, more intense. So we started studying it." "Studying what, exactly?" Taeyang asked. "The biological response Velthron females have to human males," Hana said bluntly. "It's in your pheromones. Humans produce a chemical signature that Velthron females find. Irresistible isn't the right word. Compelling, attractive. Their males don't produce anything like it." Jihu felt his stomach drop. "Are you saying they can't help themselves?" "It's more complicated than that," Hana said. "Velthrons are intelligent beings with self-control. But imagine being hungry your whole life, and never knowing it. Then suddenly someone shows up who smells like the best meal you've never had. That's what you represent to them." "That's insane," Taeyang said. "It's biology," Hana replied. "And it's about to become a much bigger problem." She pulled up another screen. "The Velthron Council has requested a formal meeting with our colony director Hyun-woo tomorrow. They want to discuss what they're calling integration protocols. I think they're going to propose something big." "Like what?" Jihu asked. Hana looked at them both seriously. "Like formal partnerships between human males and Velthron females. And before you ask, no, I don't know all the details. But I know this. The Velthrons have technology that could save Earth. Our planet is dying. They have the tools to fix it. And they're willing to trade." "Trade for what?" Taeyang's voice was quiet. "For you," Hana said. "For all of you. They want what they've never had. What their males can't give them. They want human companions. Human partners. And they're willing to give us everything we need in return." Jihu walked back to his quarters in a daze. The pleasant evening had turned cold. He thought about Shira, about her questions, about the way she looked at him. Was any of it real, or was he just a chemical reaction to her? He looked up at the alien sky, at the 2 moons hanging bright above. He'd come here to build a new life, to help humanity reach for the stars. He hadn't expected to become some kind of commodity, some kind of prize that an entire species desired. Tomorrow everything would change. Tomorrow the colony would decide its future. And Jihu had a terrible feeling that he wouldn't get much say in what that future looked like. The stars above offered no answers, only questions, and the weight of being wanted for all the wrong reasons. The meeting room was packed. Every human in the colony had been called to attend, along with the Velthron Council. Jihu sat between Taeyang and Soha, his hands sweating despite the cool air. Hyun-woo stood at the front, his face tight with tension. As colony director, he'd led them for 5 years. Jihu had never seen him look so uncertain. "Thank you all for coming," Hyun-woo began. "What we discuss today will shape the future of both our species. Dr. Hana will explain the science. Then the Velthron Council will make their proposal." Hana stepped forward with another Velthron female beside her. "This is Kira, lead Velthron scientist. Together, we've spent 2 years studying the biological response between our species. Kira's voice was soft, but clear. For 12,000 years, my people have lived without something you humans take for granted. We mate, yes. We have children. But we do not bond. Not truly. Our males lack the biological complexity to trigger what you would call love. A murmur ran through the crowd. Kira continued, her luminescent patterns flickering with what might have been emotion. We thought this was normal. We built a great civilization on logic and reason, but we never knew what we were missing until your people arrived. Hana pulled up a holographic display. Human males produce over 200 different pheromone compounds. Velthran males produce 7. When Velthran females are exposed to human male pheromones, something awakens in their brain chemistry. Something that's been dormant for their entire evolutionary history. You make it sound like a disease, Minho said from the back. He was one of the older engineers, cautious and traditional. It's not a disease, Hana said. It's more like finally being able to see color after a lifetime of black and white. Or hearing music for the first time. The Velthran females aren't sick, they're waking up. Shira stood from her seat among the Velthrons. Jihu noticed her hands were shaking slightly. May I speak? Hyunwoo nodded. I am 342 years old, Shira said. Jihu's eyes widened. She looked so young. In that time, I have had 7 mates. All chosen for genetic compatibility and social benefit. I cared for them. In the way one cares for a colleague. When they died, I felt sad the way one feels sad when any person dies. But I never felt what your books describe. What your movies show. I never felt my heart race when someone entered a room. I never stayed awake thinking about another person. I never felt alive. She looked directly at Jihu. Until 10 days ago. Until you walked off that transport ship. And for the first time in 3 centuries, I felt something real. The room went silent. Jihu felt every eye turn to him. His face burned. Another Velthron council member stood. This one was male, tall and thin with darker blue skin. I am Korthan. I speak for those who oppose what the council will propose. Yes. Our females feel drawn to human males. But this is not natural, it is manipulation. Chemical warfare by another name. That's ridiculous, Soha said, standing up. Nobody is trying to manipulate anyone, are they not? Korthan's voice was sharp. Your very presence here alters our females' minds. They cannot think clearly around you. They become obsessed, dependent. In 3 years, human males will control our entire society through biological slavery. Enough, said another council member, an elderly Velthran female. Korthan speaks from fear, not reason. But he is not entirely wrong. We must address this carefully. She stood with difficulty. Her luminescent patterns dim with age. I am Elder Lyra. I have lived 900 years. I remember the old stories, from before we became what we are. Stories of passion and heartbreak and love so strong it moved mountains. We thought they were myths. Children's tales, but I think our ancestors knew something we forgot. Lyra moved to the center of the room. We evolved efficiency. We removed the chaos of emotion to build a perfect society. But perfection is empty. It is cold. And when I see our young females light up around your males, when I see them laugh and cry and feel, I do not see slavery. I see possibility. Hyunwoo stepped forward. What exactly is the council proposing? Lyra looked at her fellow council members, then back at the humans. We propose integration. Formal partnerships between willing humans and Velthrans. Not forced, not required, but supported and celebrated. In exchange, we offer you our technology, our faster-than-light drives, our terraforming systems, our medical advances, everything you need to save your dying Earth. The room erupted. Everyone started talking at once. Some humans looked excited. Others looked angry or scared. The Velthrans watched quietly, their patterns flickering in complex rhythms. You want to buy us, Minho shouted over the noise. Trade us like property. No, Lyra said firmly. We want to give you a choice. Stay separate and watch both our species struggle alone. Or come together and create something new. Something better. Yuna stood up. What about the biological component? If Velthron females can't think clearly around human males, how is that a fair choice? Kira answered this time. Dr. Hana and I have developed a pheromone suppressor. It is temporary. It allows Velthron females to interact with human males without the biological response. We can use it to determine which connections are real and which are only chemistry. And what about us? Taeyang asked. Do human males get a choice? Or are we expected to just accept this? Of course you have a choice, Hana said. Nobody will force anything. This is about creating opportunities, not obligations. The meeting went on for hours. Plans were discussed. Concerns were raised. Fears were voiced. By the end, 3 groups had formed among the humans. Soha led those who saw integration as humanity's gift to the galaxy. We can bring emotion to a species that's never known it, she argued. That's beautiful. Minho led those who wanted to keep the species separate. We'll lose ourselves, he warned. Become diluted. Forgotten. Hyunwoo led the middle group, those who wanted careful, slow integration with protections for both sides. We can do this right, he said. But we have to be smart about it. After the meeting, Jihu walked outside. The suns were setting, painting the sky in shades of purple and orange. Shira found him there. I'm sorry, she said quietly. I didn't mean to make you uncomfortable in there. Did you mean what you said? About feeling alive? She was quiet for a long moment. Yes. But I don't know if what I feel is real or just chemicals in my brain. Dr. Hana says I should try the suppressor, find out if I still feel the same when the pheromones are blocked. Are you going to? I'm afraid to, Shira admitted. What if it all goes away? What if I go back to being empty? Jihu looked at her. In the fading light, her patterns glowed brighter. She looked sad and hopeful and scared all at once. He realized he was scared too. Scared of being wanted for the wrong reasons. Scared of hurting someone who'd never felt hurt before. Scared of the huge responsibility that came with being someone's first experience of love. I don't know what the right answer is, he said. But I think we should find out the truth. Even if it's hard. Shira nodded slowly. You're right. I will take the suppressor. 30 days without the pheromone influence. Then we'll know. And if the feelings go away, then at least I got to feel them once, Shira said. That's more than I had before. They stood together in the growing darkness. 2 beings from different worlds, trying to understand if what pulled them together was fate or just biology. Above them, the stars began to appear. Countless points of light in an infinite sky. Somewhere out there, Earth was dying. Somewhere out there, other species were watching to see if humans and Velthrans could bridge the impossible gap between them. The future was uncertain. The path was unclear. But standing there with Shira, Jihu felt something he hadn't expected. Hope, and maybe that was enough to start with. Jihu sat in the medical center while Dr. Hana attached a small device to his wrist. It looked like a simple bracelet, but it would block his pheromones for the next 30 days. Remember, Hana said, this is voluntary. You can stop the experiment anytime. I know, Jihu said. He looked through the window where Shira waited outside. But I need to know if what we have is real. 5 other human males had volunteered for the experiment. Taeyang was one of them. He'd grown close to a Velthron engineer named Lisa, and he had the same questions Jihu did. The device activated with a soft beep. Jihu felt nothing different. He walked outside where Shira waited. She looked nervous, her patterns flickering rapidly. How do you feel? She asked. The same. Shira took a deep breath. Different. You smell normal now. Like nothing special. It's strange. Shira took a deep breath. Shira took a deep breath. Shira took a deep breath. Over the next week, Jihu watched the experiment's effects across the colony. Two of the Velthron females who'd been interested in the human volunteers lost all interest immediately. They were polite but distant, treating the humans like any other co-worker. It hurt to watch, but it proved what everyone feared. Some of the attraction was purely biological, but not all of it. Shira still came to work every day, still sat with Jihu during meals, still asked about his day and shared stories about hers. If anything, she seemed more relaxed, more herself. It's easier to think now, she told him one evening. Before, when you were near, my mind would race. I couldn't focus on anything else. Now I can actually hear what you're saying instead of just watching your mouth move. Jihu laughed. Is that better or worse? Better, Shira said. You're interesting. I didn't realize how interesting because I was too distracted by other things. They spent more time together. Shira showed Jihu parts of the colony he'd never seen. The deep hydroponics levels where massive trees grew under artificial suns, the observation deck where you could see 3 of the planet's moons at once, the old archives where Velthron history was stored in crystalline memory banks. This is our past, Shira said, running her hand over the glowing crystals. 12,000 years of advancement, of removing chaos and emotion, of becoming efficient. Do you regret it? Jihu asked. I don't know. We achieved so much. But we lost something too. Balance, maybe. We became all mind and no heart. Meanwhile, trouble was growing in the colony. Korthan's group of traditional Velthrans was getting bolder. They held meetings, spreading fear about human influence. Some younger Velthron males joined them, afraid of becoming irrelevant in their own society. Then the sabotage happened. Jihu was working in the lower levels when the alarms went off. Water rushed through the corridors, flooding the engineering spaces. He grabbed Shira's arm and pulled her toward higher ground. The recycling plant, she gasped. Someone destroyed the main pumps. The colony went into emergency mode. Every able person helped evacuate the lower levels and seal the flooding. By the time they got it under control, thousands of gallons of precious water had been lost. Taeyang found Jihu in the chaos. This wasn't an accident. Someone planted explosives. Who would do that? Who do you think? Korthan's people. They want to scare everyone. Make integration seem dangerous. But when security investigated, they found something unexpected. The explosives were human-made. Old Earth technology. The evidence pointed to Minho's group. The human isolationists. This doesn't make sense, Soha said at the emergency council meeting. Minho wants to keep us separate. But he wouldn't endanger the whole colony, unless someone wants us to think it was the humans, Yuna suggested. What if Korthan's people used human tech to frame Minho's group? The colony split into accusations and suspicion. Trust broke down. Humans and Velthrans who'd been working together for years suddenly looked at each other with doubt. Jihu found Minho in his quarters, packing his things. Where are you going? Away from this mess, Minho said bitterly. They think I tried to kill everyone. Me? I've given 5 years to this colony. I don't think you did it, Jihu said. Thanks. But it doesn't matter what you think. Half the colony wants me arrested. Jihu sat down heavily. Someone's playing us against each other, making both sides afraid. Smart move, Minho admitted. If we're fighting each other, we can't integrate. Whoever did this wins. That's when Jihu realized something. It's not about stopping integration. It's about proving integration is dangerous. Making everyone think peace between our species is impossible. He ran to find Taeyang and Soha. Together, they went to Hyunwoo's office. We need to investigate both groups, Jihu said. Human and Velthron extremists. Someone is trying to start a war. Taeyang spent the next 3 days digging through security footage and maintenance logs. What he found was damning. Korthan had been accessing areas he shouldn't have been in, meeting with Velthrans who worked in weapons storage. And the data on Velthran addiction to human pheromones, the research he'd presented to scare everyone, had been altered. Look at this. Taeyang showed them the original files. The addiction rates are a quarter of what Korthon claimed. He made it seem like every Velthran female who met a human male became helplessly dependent, but the real numbers show most females have normal, healthy responses. He falsified scientific data, Soha said, shocked. That's grounds for removal from the council. It's also proof he's desperate, Yuna added. Desperate people do dangerous things. They brought the evidence to Hyunwoo and Elder Lyra. A tribunal was called. The entire colony gathered to watch Korthan defend himself. He stood tall and unashamed. Yes. I altered the data. Yes. I organized resistance to integration. And I would do it again. Why? Lyra asked, her old voice sad. We raised you better than this, because you're blind, Korthan said. All of you. You see the hope and the feelings and the connection, but you don't see the end result. In 1 generation, maybe 2, Velthran males will be irrelevant. Human males will father all the children, even if just as donors. Human culture will dominate ours. We will become extinct, not through war, but through irrelevance. The room fell silent. It was the fear nobody wanted to speak out loud. Soha stood up. You're wrong, and I can prove it. She walked to the front of the room. I've been keeping a secret. Not because I'm ashamed, but because it wasn't anyone's business. I'm in a relationship with a Velthran male. The crowd erupted in shock. A human woman with a Velthran male? Nobody had considered that possibility. A male Velthran stood from the crowd. I am Thorin. Soha and I have been together for 8 months. And before you ask, yes, there is a biological component. Human females produce pheromones that affect Velthran males differently than your females. We find them compelling too, just in different ways. Dr. Hana stood, excitement on her face. I've been researching this quietly. Soha came to me months ago with questions. Human females and Velthran males are compatible. The chemistry is different, but it's there. This isn't one-sided. Jihu watched understanding spread through the crowd. This wasn't about humans dominating Velthrons. This was about both species finding something they'd been missing in each other. Korthan's face darkened. It doesn't matter. The damage is done. Our society will never be the same. You're right, Elder Lyra said. It won't be the same. It will be better. We will have what we lost 12,000 years ago. Feeling, passion, real connection. And we will keep what we gained, intelligence, technology, wisdom. The question is whether we're brave enough to embrace both. The tribunal voted. Korthan was removed from the council, but not punished otherwise. His fears were understandable, even if his actions weren't. As the crowd dispersed, Jihu found Shira outside. They sat on a bench, overlooking the gardens. 3 more days until the suppressor comes off, she said. Nervous? Terrified. What if everything changes again? What if I suddenly can't think around you? Jihu took her hand. It was the first time he'd done that. Her skin was cool and smooth. Then we'll figure it out. Together. You keep saying things like that, like you actually care about me. I do care about you. Is that so strange? Shira looked at him with those deep black eyes. For me? Yes. I spent 300 years not caring about anyone beyond basic courtesy. Now I care if you're cold or hungry or sad. I think about you when you're not around. I want to make you smile. It's overwhelming. That's called having feelings, Jihu said gently. It's overwhelming for humans too sometimes. Is it worth it? The pain and fear that comes with caring? Jihu thought about that. Yes. Because the happiness and connection is worth more than the pain costs. They sat in comfortable silence as the sun set. In 3 days, they'd know if their connection survived the return of Jihu's pheromones. But right now, in this moment, they had something real, and that was enough. Day 30 arrived. Jihu stood in the medical center again, watching Hana prepare to remove the pheromone suppressor. His hands shook slightly. Last chance to back out, Hana said. No, I need to know. The device clicked off. Jihu took a deep breath. He still felt the same. Normal. Human. He walked outside where Shira waited with the other Velthron females whose partners had been in the experiment. Shira saw him and smiled. Then she froze. Her patterns flared bright. Brighter than he'd ever seen them. She took a shaky breath. Oh, she whispered. I forgot how strong it is. Jihu's heart sank. So it's back? The biological pull? Yes. It's like someone turned the volume up on everything. Colors are brighter. My heart is racing. I want to be close to you. She paused, then smiled. But I also know that you like terrible earth music. And you talk too much when you're nervous. And you always forget to clean the workshop. And I still want to be close to you. So it's not just the pheromones? The pheromones make me notice you. Make me want to be near you. But spending 30 days getting to know you made me like you. There's a difference. Relief flooded through Jihu. They weren't just chemistry, they were real. The other test couples had mixed results. Taeyang and Lisa discovered their connection was mostly biological. They decided to stay friends, which hurt, but felt honest. Two other couples found the same thing. Jihu and Shira had biology plus genuine compatibility. The last couple decided they needed more time to figure it out. That evening, Hyunwoo called another colony meeting. His face was grave. I received a transmission from Earth today, he said. It's not good. The screen behind him showed images of Earth. Brown oceans, dead forests, cities covered in dust. The ecological collapse has accelerated. The estimates were wrong. Earth doesn't have years. It has months. Maybe 6 if we're lucky. The room filled with shocked silence. Many of the humans had family on Earth, friends, children. The Velthron Council has offered their full technology package, Hyunwoo continued. Terraforming systems, atmospheric processors, biological reconstruction tools, everything we need to save Earth. But there's a condition. Elder Lyra stood. The technology requires operators trained in both human intuition and Velthron precision. You cannot simply take our machines and use them. They must be operated by mixed teams who understand both our ways of thinking. Integration is not just desired now. It is necessary. That's manipulation, someone shouted. You're holding our planet hostage. No, Lyra said firmly. We are offering a solution that requires cooperation. If we simply gave you the technology, you would fail. The systems are too complex. They require a blend of your creativity and our systematic thinking. Neither species can do it alone. Nari, the colony psychologist, stood up. She's right. I've been studying the work teams here. Mixed human Velthron groups solve problems 30% faster than single-species groups. We approach challenges differently. Together, we're stronger. But can we trust them? Minho asked. After everything that's happened? Thorin stood, still holding Soha's hand. You can trust us as much as we trust you. Some of my people tried to sabotage integration. Some of yours wanted to keep us apart. But most of us, human and Velthron, just want to build something good, together. Hyunwoo looked around the room. We need to vote. Not just on whether to accept the Velthron offer, but on what kind of colony we want to be. Separated by species? Or integrated as partners? The vote took hours. People argued, cried, shouted. But slowly, consensus formed. Not everyone agreed. But enough did. The final vote was 72% in favor of full integration. The colony would become humanity's first true shared world with another species. There's more, Hyunwoo said after the vote. Earth needs help now. We're forming emergency response teams, mixed human Velthron crews who will travel to Earth and begin the restoration work. It's dangerous. The conditions are harsh, and some of you won't come back. Jihu looked at Shira. I have to go. My family is on Earth. I know, Shira said quietly. Then I'm coming with you. It's not your fight. Yes, it is. You made it my fight when I decided I cared about you. Your people are my people now. Over the next week, crews formed. Each team had 3 humans and 3 Velthrons, chosen for complementary skills. Jihu and Shira were assigned to Team 7, focusing on ocean restoration. Taeyang joined Team 3 for atmospheric work. Soha and Thorin led Team 1, coordinating overall efforts. The night before departure, the colony held a ceremony. Humans and Velthrons stood together, promising to support each other, to bridge the gaps between their species, to create something new. Yuna approached Jihu with a small plant in a pot. "This is from the integration garden," she said. "Part earth ivy, part Velthron luminous vine. We grafted them together. It shouldn't work according to all the rules, but it's thriving. Seems appropriate." The plant glowed softly in the darkness. Earth green and Velthron blue intertwined. Jihu found Minho sitting alone, watching the ships being prepared. "You could still come," Jihu said. "We need good engineers." "I know. But I think I need time. Time to accept that everything I thought I knew is changing." Minho looked at him. "Take care of our world, Jihu. Whatever happens with you and the Velthrons, Earth is still home. I will." The ships launched at dawn. 20 teams, 120 beings, carrying hope across the stars. The journey to Earth would take 2 weeks at Velthron FTL speeds. Jihu stood in the observation deck with Shira, watching New Gaon shrink behind them. "Nervous?" she asked. "Terrified. I've never been responsible for saving a planet before. We'll figure it out. Together." That word again. Together. It meant something different now than it had a month ago. Then it was just a word. Now it was a promise. A choice. A future. The ship hummed around them, Velthron technology powered by human determination. In the common area, crew members from both species shared meals, learned each other's languages, taught each other their ways. It wasn't perfect. Misunderstandings happened. Cultural differences created friction. But they worked through it. On day 9, they received updated images from Earth. The damage was worse than anyone thought. Whole ecosystems had collapsed in the time since the last report. The window for saving the planet was closing fast. "Can we do this?" Jihu asked Shira late one night. "Can we really save an entire world?" "I don't know," Shira admitted. "But I know we'll try. And I know that humans never give up. I've learned that about you. You face impossible odds, and you try anyway. It's foolish and beautiful, and very human. And what have I learned from Velthrons? That patience and planning are not the same as giving up. That thinking before acting is wisdom, not cowardice. That different doesn't mean wrong." They held each other in the quiet darkness. 2 beings from different worlds, trying to save a third. Outside the window, stars streamed past in ribbons of light. Somewhere ahead, Earth waited, dying but not dead, broken but not beyond repair. The ship's captain, a Velthron named Riven, announced they would arrive in 4 days. "Prepare yourselves," she said. "What we will see will be difficult. But remember why we're here. We are not just saving a planet. We are proving that different species can work as one, that chemistry and choice can coexist, that the future belongs to those brave enough to bridge the gaps between them." Jihu squeezed Shira's hand. 4 days until they would see if hope was enough. 4 days until they would test if human determination and Velthron precision could achieve the impossible. 4 days until they would know if Earth could be saved, and if it could be saved, what that would mean for the galaxy. Because if humans and Velthrons could do this, could build this kind of partnership, then maybe other species could too. Maybe the future wasn't separate civilizations competing for resources. Maybe it was different peoples coming together, finding what they needed in each other. The stars had no answers, but they shone anyway, constant and eternal, and that was enough to believe in. Earth hung in the viewport like a dying jewel. Where once it had been blue and green and white, now it showed brown and gray and sickly yellow. Jihu pressed his hand against the glass, his throat tight. "I grew up down there," he whispered. "In Seoul. There were cherry blossom trees outside my window every spring. I wonder if they're still alive." Shira stood beside him, her hand finding his. "Then we will make sure they bloom again." The 20 ships descended through the thick atmosphere. Visibility was poor. The air was filled with dust from dying forests and dried ocean beds. When they landed outside what used to be the city of Mumbai, the sight that greeted them was devastating. Buildings stood empty, covered in brown dust. The streets were silent. A few humans emerged from underground shelters, thin and tired, their eyes wide at seeing the Velthron ships. "Are you here to save us or finish us off?" an old woman asked. She looked at the Velthrons with suspicion. "To save you," Soha said, stepping forward. "We're here to save you." The teams dispersed across the planet. Team 7 headed to the Pacific Ocean, or what was left of it. The great body of water had shrunk to half its size, its temperature rising to levels that killed most marine life. Jihu and Shira stood on what used to be underwater, now a wasteland of dried coral and dead fish. "Where do we even start?" Jihu asked. A Velthron technician named KL activated the terraforming equipment. Massive machines hummed to life, their crystalline cores glowing with blue light. "We start by rebuilding the foundation. Water purification first, then temperature regulation, then we seed new life." The work was brutal. 12-hour days under a harsh sun, breathing air that burned the lungs. The Velthrons struggled with the heat. The humans struggled with the despair of seeing their world so broken. But they worked together, combining Velthron technology with human knowledge of Earth's ecosystems. Jihu learned to operate systems he barely understood, guided by Shira's patient explanations. She learned which Earth plants could survive in which conditions, trusting his knowledge of his own world. When the machines failed, they improvised solutions together. When the work seemed impossible, they encouraged each other. 3 weeks in, the first results appeared. A section of the Pacific began to clear. The water temperature dropped. Small fish, bred in Velthron biolabs, were released into the recovering ocean. They survived. "It's working," Jihu said, watching the fish swim through the clear water. He started to cry. Shira held him while he wept for his broken world and the small hope of fixing it. The other teams reported similar progress. Forests began to grow again under atmospheric processors. Rivers ran clean for the first time in years. The sky, slowly, started to clear. But the work took its toll. 2 Velthrons died from heat exhaustion. A human was killed when old Earth machinery collapsed. Team 5 lost their ship to a dust storm. The cost of saving Earth was high. 4 months into the restoration, Jihu received a message. His mother, who he thought had died in the collapse, was alive in an underground shelter in Korea. He requested leave to visit her. Shira came with him. They traveled to what remained of Seoul, landing outside the shelter entrance. His mother emerged, older and thinner than he remembered, but alive. She saw him and started crying. "Jihu, my son, you came back." He hugged her tightly. "I'm sorry it took so long. We're trying to fix it, to make it like it was." His mother pulled back and looked at Shira. "And who is this?" "This is Shira. She's my partner." His mother studied the tall Velthron female with her glowing patterns and black eyes. Jihu held his breath. Finally, his mother smiled. "Then she's family. Thank you for bringing my son home." They spent 2 days in Seoul. Jihu showed Shira the empty streets where he'd played as a child, the dead cherry trees that would someday bloom again, the school where he'd learned engineering. Shira listened to every story, learning not just about Jihu but about humanity itself. "You love this world so much," she said, standing in the ruins of Gyeongbokgung Palace. "All the beauty it used to have. Ren, it's home. No matter how broken it is, it's still home. I understand now why you fight so hard to save it. It's not just about survival. It's about preserving all the memories and history and beauty that made you who you are." On their last night in Seoul, Jihu's mother cooked them a meal from her carefully saved supplies. They sat together in the small shelter, sharing food and stories. His mother told Shira about Jihu as a child. Shira told her about life on New Gaon. "Are you happy?" his mother asked Jihu when Shira stepped outside. "Yes, scared sometimes. Unsure, but happy. That's all a mother can ask for." They returned to the ocean restoration work. 6 months had passed since they'd arrived on Earth. The changes were visible from space now. Blue was returning to the oceans, green spreading across the continents, white clouds forming in cleaner skies. But the work was far from over. Earth needed years of restoration, maybe decades. The teams would have to stay, keep working, keep hoping. One evening, Jihu and Shira sat on a restored beach, watching waves lap at the sand. Real waves. Clean water. A small miracle. "I've been thinking," Shira said, "about the future, about us. And I want to stay, on Earth, help restore it fully. And after that, I want to go back to New Gaon with you. I want to be part of building a real integrated society. Not just for us, but for everyone who comes after us." Jihu looked at her. "That's a long commitment. Decades of work. Are you sure? I've lived 300 years without purpose beyond the next task. Now I have something worth dedicating my life to. Fixing your world. Building our future. Yes, I'm sure. Even though the biology brought us together? Even though it started as just pheromones?" Shira smiled. "The pheromones made me notice you. Chemistry gave us a chance. But every day since then, I've chosen you. That's what matters." News from other colonies arrived regularly. 3 more worlds had begun integration programs based on New Gaon's model. Other species were watching, learning, hoping to find their own partnerships across the stars. A year after arriving on Earth, the restoration hit a major milestone. 50% of the oceans were recovering. 70% of the atmosphere was breathable without filters. Earth wouldn't be like it was, but it would live. The surviving humans began emerging from shelters permanently. Cities rebuilt. Children played in gardens growing under Velthron biodomes. Mixed teams of humans and Velthrons worked side by side. No longer strangers but colleagues and friends. Taeyang found new purpose training the next wave of mixed teams. Soha and Thorin established the first Earth-based integration center. Yuna created gardens that blended Earth and Velthron plants, beautiful symbols of what cooperation could create. 5 years after the first ships landed, Jihu stood in a restored Seoul park with Shira. Cherry blossom trees bloomed around them, their petals pink and perfect. His mother sat on a bench nearby, watching with tears in her eyes. "You did it," she said. "You saved our world." "We did it," Jihu corrected. "All of us, human and Velthron together." Shira looked up at the blossoms. "They're beautiful, just like you described, almost as beautiful as you." She laughed, her patterns glowing bright. "You're learning to be romantic. Very human of you. You're learning to appreciate beauty beyond logic. Very human of you, too." They walked through the park, past playing children and growing trees and clean streams. Earth was healing. Not quickly, but steadily. And more importantly, humans and Velthrons were healing together. That night, the colony on New Gaon sent a message. Minho, who had stayed behind, had started working with Korthon. Together they were developing programs to ensure both species maintained their identities while building something new. Even the skeptics were finding ways to contribute. Jihu replied to the message, telling them about Earth's progress. About the cherry blossoms and the clean oceans and the hope growing in human hearts. He told them integration wasn't easy, but it was worth it. 10 years after the first meeting in New Gaon's council room, Jihu and Shira returned to the colony. Earth was stable now, its restoration continuing under new teams. The colony had changed too. Grown, thrived, humans and Velthrons lived together naturally now. Children of both species played in integrated schools. Mixed teams worked on projects across the colony. The barriers that once seemed impossible to cross had become bridges. Elder Lyra, now over 900 years old, met them at the landing pad. "Welcome home," she said. "Both of you." "How are things here?" Shira asked. "Better than I dreamed. We've received requests from 6 other species wanting to study our model. Humans are teaching the galaxy what you taught us. That connection matters. That emotion and logic can work together. That different species can find what they need in each other." That evening, a celebration was held. The colony gathered to honor the teams who had saved Earth. Jihu stood before the crowd, Shira beside him, and told their story. Not just the victories, but the struggles, the doubts, the fears, the cost. "We didn't save Earth alone," he said. "And we didn't bridge the gap between our species alone. Every person here, human and Velthron, chose to believe in something bigger than themselves, chose to trust someone different, chose to build instead of destroy." Shira took the podium. 10 years ago, I didn't know what love felt like. I didn't know what it meant to feel truly alive. Humans gave me that gift, but they also gave the galaxy something more important. They showed us that our differences make us stronger when we work together. That chemistry might bring us together, but choice keeps us together. The crowd applauded. Humans and Velthrons standing side by side, no longer seeing each other as separate species, but as partners in building the future. Later, Jihu and Shira walked through the gardens Yuna had expanded. Earth flowers grew beside Velthron, luminous plants. Trees from both worlds intertwined their branches. "Do you ever regret it?" Jihu asked. "How we started? The pheromones and biology and all the complication? Never. Yes, biology brought us together. But biology brings all couples together in some way. Attraction is chemistry. Love is choice. We chose each other every day for 10 years. That's real." They stood together under the alien stars, looking up at the sky where Earth shone in the distance. A healed world. A saved world. A future built by 2 species who found what they needed in each other. And across the galaxy, other species watched and wondered and hoped that they too might find their own partnerships, their own bridges, their own futures built on the simple truth that sometimes the thing you desire most is exactly what you need. The stars shone down on New Gaia, on Earth, on all the worlds reaching toward each other across the darkness. And in that light, Jihu saw not just his future with Shira, but humanity's future among the stars. Not as conquerors or victims, but as friends, partners, and family to species beyond counting. The galaxy would never be the same. And that was exactly how it should be.